From Hollywood, California, welcome to Reza Rifts with your host, Keith Reza.
Find you
Hey,
in hunting. Oh, sorry.
oh no, we're fine. Hey, Rifters, welcome to the show. Subscriber review. We got a great show. We got the very beautiful, talented Kaila Yu, right?
Yes, you got it.
Is
Yeah.
that right? All right.
Yes.
Under pressure. Yeah.
With
Uh,
me staring at you, you
yeah,
get
with
it
the
there.
death eyes. I was like, if I mess up. Well, thank you so much for doing this. Thanks, it means a lot. I love interviewing people, and I hear that you have a new book coming out. We're gonna try and get this released when it comes out. It's called Fetishized,
Fetishized, yeah.
Fetishized.
Which apparently a lot of people have a hard time saying fetishized and fetishization because nobody says the words in real life. Like you might write them, but you don't say them.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't even know it was a word. I thought explain to the folks, we'll get into your career a little bit. Let's talk about the book first because that's the most important thing. So explain to the folks why did you just wake up and say, "Hey, it's time to write a book about my career," or like,
Yeah, no, I never had any intention of writing a book or a memoir or anything like that. It just happened that so I'm a travel writer and I was doing that and having a lot of fun with that career, and then the pandemic hit and all my travel was canceled and nobody was buying travel articles anymore.
yeah,
So I was out of work. And I finally had time to learn TikTok, which I was happy about because it's so important, even as a writer, to have social media these days. And I never had time to learn TikTok. But once I started posting on TikTok, I started posting about like the 2000s era Asian American culture, which was kind of forgotten by everybody. It's not really like documented. So that content went kind of viral.
right,
And so I just kept posting about that time in my life. And that's when I was really active in my career as a musician and a pinup model. And but then about a year later, after I was doing all that TikTok content, the Atlanta spa shootings happened. And that's when a shooter who was sex addicted went into a bunch of massage parlors and shot a bunch of women, or shot a bunch of people. Eight of them were um, men and women, and six of them were Asian women. So then I started to reflect back on like, oh, how I might have contributed to fetishization in my youth by kind of playing into objectification and all of that. So that kind of ultimately inspired the book.
yeah. I wanted to ask you because you talked about how like a lot of people don't really know about Asian cultures and stuff, and like. I gotta be honest, I don't, but I remember when I was in school, like they kind of did like a brief, like a little one-on-one on it, but I've gotta be honest with you, I've forgotten everything about it. So like how do you think like that's for all culture?
Well, yeah, famously, America doesn't know anything about anybody else, right? Like when
Yeah,
you, myself included, I'm American, like we aren't really taught, we're taught very lightly about geography. Like, can you point out where all other countries are? Most Americans cannot. But if
right.
I, like, when I'm traveling and I go to Europe or I go to Asia, they all know where different countries are because they're taught like a globalist kind of thing. And the Americans were very like thinking we're the center of the universe and we don't learn as much about other cultures. So that's something that could be improved upon.
Yeah. I always thought because like, for America, who has this um what's the word I'm thinking of? Sorry, I have mind freezes sometimes.
Oh yeah.
They're for being known for being like,
Self-centered.
self-centered,
Yeah.
or being, well,
Entitled. That's what they
entitled,
would say.
yeah.
Yeah.
For being entitled of being the best at everything. They really don't know much about anything. You know what I
hmm
mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy because like when you do travel and interact with different people from other cultures, they are so knowledgeable about American history and
Yeah.
other, Asian history and European history. They learn about, they're taught other things besides their own country's history.
So when you were growing up with your family, like did your culture like really interest you or like, because I know you're in America too, so like how did you?
So my parents are immigrants, so they very much wanted us to still, know about our culture. So on Saturday, I would go to Chinese school, and my mom was the principal there because she wanted to be very involved. So I'm very glad for that because I was very mad at the time because like all my other friends were like watching Saturday morning cartoons and I had to go to extra school.
Yeah.
But now I'm glad I have, my Chinese is fourth grade level. It's not like super good, but I could get around in the country, right? And I'm so grateful just to have a second language. So I think that was like a gift they gave to us. But it wasn't really taught in school, like Asian American history, or I don't remember learning much about anything about Asia. I think I learned that Asia was in the East. Like
Yeah.
that's all I remember. Yeah.
You know what? One of the things I wish that I did in school was like I wish that I actually learned like multiple languages because my
Yeah.
the guy I tour with, TJ Miller, he knows like three different languages, but he self-taught himself and stuff
Oh, wow.
and like it's just like I kind of wish I had that, because I would never get into any arguments or racism or anything like that. You know what I mean? Because I would know what I'm saying and you
Yes.
know?
But that reminds me, I took 4 years of Spanish in high school, and I don't remember very much of it because you still
Oh,
have to practice it and use it.
yeah,
But
that's
like I
true.
remember just like these words here and there. Um, but yeah, it is, yeah. I wish I knew Spanish better. That would be amazing.
It's kind of like what I was talking to you about before we started recording is like, when you go to speech therapy and stuff and you learn that stuff, but now everything's online. So like you could learn a new language in 90 days if you do 3 minutes a day.
Have you tried that before?
I want to, but I
Yeah.
gotta be honest with you, that's a long, hard 3 minutes.
Oh, really? Have you tried the 3 minutes?
I've tried like 1 minute and then it gave me like one sentence and I kept screwing it up. Like how
Okay.
long did it take me to get your name down? Like it was like
Yeah.
it like frustrated me. You know what I mean?
So it probably doesn't really take 3 minutes as they advertise.
Yeah, but like my brain doesn't work like that. Like I like the stuff that I'm good at is like writing and kind of joke writing and stuff. So like when I'm trying to learn something serious, it kind of throws off my other side of the brain.
Yeah.
Does that make sense at all?
Well, we all have different learning modalities. So yeah.
Yeah.
Like, when we go to school, we're all taught the same way, but not everybody learns the same.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, so how long did it actually take you to finish this book? And did you have any ghostwriters to help you, or was it all just you?
Yeah, I wrote it myself and I wrote it really slowly because the book publishing process is so slow.
Yeah.
So when I got Penguin Random House or Crown Publishing, when they signed on to publish my book, it was another 3 years. Like it feels like it's been forever. Like I signed that book so long ago. I feel like I could have definitely written the book in a year, but since I had 3 years to do it, I just did it really slowly. And I had an editor who helped me. Like I'd write a chapter and then she'd give notes and feedback and we'd go back and forth.
Yeah. That's do you think the feedback is like because sometimes it's like constructive criticism and then it's like passive aggressive criticism. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
No, my editor is like a really good friend of mine now. I talk to her every single day, and she's like as invested in the success of this book as I am. She's also an Asian woman, so the topic really, resonates with her because she's experienced the same things. But I couldn't have written the book without her because her feedback, like there was a lot of stuff I wanted to include in there because I was like, oh, I want to tell the story from my life. It was like fun and interesting. And she's like, what does this have to do with the Asian fetish? And
right.
I couldn't answer the question, so we had to take it out, and it's better because it's much more streamlined.
So most of the book is probably about the Asian fetishes that people have,
Yeah,
right?
like it's told in a different whole bunch of different ways. It's like my experience with it, and then we'll like spend a chapter breaking down a movie, like Memoirs of a Geisha, and how that was problematic and how that related to my life. And then we'll break down like the Harajuku girls in another chapter. So yeah, it goes over a lot of media I grew up with in the 2000s.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, like, what makes you feel like, why do you think we have like such an Asian fetish? Like, what do you think like the beginning of that was?
Yeah, I mean, I would say most people don't have an Asian fetish, but there is like a small percentage of men who just kind of treat Asian women as like objects that are disposable and interchangeable, like for their sexual pleasure, basically.
Right.
But the also what my book delves into is a lot of history. So the origins of the fetish are colonialist. So it comes back from even before this, but like it was popularized during like the Korean War, the Vietnam War, World War II, where Japan fell. And US military soldiers would go over to these countries to colonize them. And then after the soldiers fought, they would be sent over to like East Asian countries for rest and recreation, which was actually kind of like a vacation, but also a lot of interactions with prostitutes were kind of the reward.
Right.
So then they get the idea of Asian women as like available and like sexual, but they're interacting with prostitutes, not everyday, regular Asian women.
Yeah. That's so fascinating because right when you said the whole war thing, I was like, oh, that's probably because like they couldn't go back to the States or where they're from, so like they have to go for the ladies in that area, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, that's very interesting. See, that's something I didn't really know about. I mean, obviously I've always known that, people have an Asian fetish, but I don't really know the history of it. And I find that
Most people don't. Yeah.
yeah, I kind of think that's why I kind of wanted to talk to you because like the fact that you wrote something about that, which I think is very brave, and just openly trying to acknowledge that and like I think it's more like you're trying to teach people and like, hey, this is what it is, and I think that that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, and along the way when I was researching it, I learned so much information that I didn't know. So it's like most people don't know this information.
Yeah. When you learn stuff like that, like as a very, as an attractive Asian lady, and you hear that stuff, like, do you think, oh, okay, this kind of makes sense, or like, how does your mind work on that?
When you hear
Oh, like when
the
you're doing your research about the history.
oh,
Yeah.
well, it's shocking. Like the shocking Um, I don't have the statistic on the top of my head, but still sex tourism to Thailand's like probably in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh my
Like the
God.
number of single men going there just for sex tourism
Yeah.
is troubling. There's also this epidemic, and it's not just like because people generally associate the Asian fetish with white men having an Asian fetish, but also in the Philippines, South Korean men will go there also for sex tourism. And there's like a huge problem with them getting women there pregnant and then going back to their own countries and never having to take any responsibility or like be a dad.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily the single guys, like people in
That's
relationships
true.
probably go
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'm sure many of these sex tourism people are like married or in a relationship also.
Yeah, it's like it's like one of those sad truths where like, people say, "Ooh, people don't cheat or whatever," but there's like a huge like whenever someone said like whenever I'm in a relationship, I always feel in my mind like there's a 90% chance I'm gonna get cheated on. You know what I mean? Like
I think there's a lot of people who don't cheat. I don't cheat.
no, no, yeah,
Yeah.
but you're in that 10%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I also feel
Is it
like
that high? Is it 90%? I think that might be high.
maybe I just said that to make you laugh. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it is pretty high, and
It's high, yeah.
I feel the pandemic made it higher because like when people are stuck, in their, you know, with their spouse for 2 years or whatever, they're like, I've had enough of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like, I've never been in a 15-year relationship, so it might like get stale after a while. I don't know. I haven't experienced it, so I don't know what it's like to be in that long of a relationship. And
Yeah.
to be faithful for like 20 years, that's an accomplishment.
Oh no, for sure, definitely. I don't know. I mean, but then again, you're talking to a stand-up comic whose
Oh, yeah.
longest relationship was 4 lap dances in a row. So like
Okay,
it's kind
wait,
of like
comics cheat a lot. I know.
yeah.
So You're probably talking about 90% of comedians that you tour with are cheating. Yeah.
No, no, not at all. I mean, I'm just saying that I feel just especially I feel the pandemic made that number higher.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
all.
I think so. Yeah.
That's what
But
I'm
also,
trying.
comedians are known for being, uh, having groupies line up after stage or whatever.
Well, so are music people, and you used to
Yes,
do
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
music, right?
Yeah. But it's different because women don't like, men like to sleep with groupies, but women don't like to sleep with groupies. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did your band have a lot of guy groupies, or like how was that?
Our fans were actually mostly females, but there were guys around once we played a residency in Macau at the Hard Rock, and there was like this really cute guy in the audience, and he hit up my bassist, and then they became boyfriend and girlfriend. So,
Oh my God.
but he wasn't. It wasn't a groupie because they ended up talking for like a year. They were like together, so it was like it turned into a real thing.
Oh, that's so cool. And then my last question about your book is I wanted to ask you like what kind of stories that are in the book? Like how did you eliminate which ones to tell or not? You said that like your editor kind of helped you, but at the end of the day, like you have the final shot. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it just really had to do with how it related. Like, if it was something that happened more recently, because the book's really about like the 2000s era of my life, and it touches a little bit on current times, but the stories are all specifically from that time in the music industry, because I kind of wanted to show how the entertainment industry specifically perpetuates these stereotypes. Like, of all women, like of the objectification of women too. It's getting a lot better, but yeah, a lot of those stereotypes were perpetuated by film and TV.
Yeah. Do you feel that like these stereotypes like you were mentioning like early thousands and stuff. Do you think like at the time maybe they didn't realize it and then now they kind of realize it? You know
Oh,
what I mean?
totally. Yeah, it's funny because Rush Hour 2 is one of the movies I talk about in my book. And recently I saw that the movie now comes with a disclaimer that says, oh, like basically it says this was in a different time and some of the things may not have translated well. So I think people are definitely aware that the things that they were doing in the 2000s, we don't do again now. We've learned. So
Yeah.
there's progress.
That's good. I mean, I feel Hollywood is just so wrong about so many things. You know what I mean? And it's like I understand the point of storytelling and I get that, but if we're going on a storytelling level, it's fine. But if we're going into like respecting diversities and people's, culturals and stuff like that, I feel they really screw up everything because I have autism and every Hollywood thing I've seen about autism, they totally just fuck it up.
Well, it's so strange. Wouldn't they just get an autistic person to consult and tell them how to do it right? You would think it's an easy fix, right? But they get
Yeah.
it wrong still.
Well, see, that's the thing is that autism is a spectrum. So like there's
Uh,
so many
yeah,
different forms of it
yeah.
where I guess like there's a show called The Good Doctor and they say, oh, the person who's on the spectrum, he could like automatically heal bones in his mind and he can't really like
Well, that seems like obviously not true.
yeah, so now like, whenever I go on a date with a lady, she's like, "Oh, if I break my arm, can you heal it?" I'm like, "What?"
Wait, have you read there's a podcast that I just heard about. I haven't listened to it yet, but it's about like it's called it's called something tapes, but it's about autism. I think nonverbal autistic
Oh, nice.
people in a some kind of experiment, and some of them are able to communicate through their minds or something. I haven't listened to it, so don't quote me on the exact, but I made a bookmark on it because I wanted to listen to it to hear what it was more about.
Well, if you run into it and you know the actual name, text it to me because
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
totally like, yeah, I like listening to that stuff because it also helps me as a person to, grow and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you like a last question about the writing the book. When you before you went on the computer to actually type the pages, did you use like a cell phone or a tape recorder to get these ideas down and then replay it? Or like how did you?
No, I'm just my process is I just dump everything onto the page and I don't care if it's terrible. I just
Right.
like put it on there and then I start to chisel it and make it good. But like I think that's the easiest way to write because if you get too perfectionist about like needing to put something good down, then that's like I think where some writer's block can come in.
Yeah, and yeah, it's frustrating because like I have the point where like if I write something and I think it's really really bad, I'll just delete all of it and then
No,
like
just save it for, records.
yeah, and then like the next day I'll be like, "Holy shit, that was actually really good." You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no erasing.
So a couple questions about your career and then because I want to respect your time. But so you started off as a model and then you did the music and stuff like what's the transition on that like? Because those are two totally different things.
Well, I was a pinup model, so it was very like Maxim and FHM type of modeling, very sexy. And then when I did it, I didn't find it that fulfilling. So I think went to pursue music because I was like, I need to prove I have talent and I'm worth more than just my body. That's what
Yeah.
I was thinking at 20 years old. Um, because once I got into music, I had, ended up touring and having some success there. But then I learned that I don't like to perform live and tour. So
Oh,
then,
really?
yeah, I actually, I like doing like one big song or like three song sets, like at the MTV Movie Awards where you get to come on and do one huge production. But I don't like doing an hour set and then driving to another city and doing an hour set the next time, driving to another, like it's torture. It's very hard work, actually.
Why didn't you just fly?
You can't, yeah. The budget did not allow for that. No.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
If we were flying, because then you have to factor in we're traveling with seven people and there's all the band equipment. So there's the amps and the guitars. And so, yeah, it wouldn't have made sense.
So did you like you said you don't like touring and you don't like performing. Was there just a position in your life where you're like, I'm kind of over music and I don't love it anymore? Or
Oh,
like,
totally. I think I pursued it for like maybe 3 more years being miserable, and then I finally quit, and I never missed it after
yeah.
I quit.
So
Yeah.
there's no comeback for the music.
No, never.
Oh, that,
Never.
that's very interesting because I feel like in my business, like if you're a stand-up comedian, you want to be a rock star, and if you're a rock star, you want to be a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, grass always looks greener.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
not, right?
Yeah.
Like
No.
just by interviewing you, I'm like, I don't want to do a rock star anymore.
Well, some people enjoy it, obviously, but I did not.
What happens if you forgot like the lyrics or one of the beats to the songs and stuff and it just totally screws it off? Like, has
You
that
turn
ever happened?
around. You turn around.
Oh, really?
You
Yeah.
turn around and you pretend you're like getting into it with the drummer. But I still have that. That's a reoccurring stress dream for me. Like it's like, oh, we have to perform tomorrow night, and like I don't even know what the set is. Like
Yeah.
that's like still a recurring dream. So,
And then let's talk about the movies. I know you from the Fast and the Furious movie. You had a couple lines in that, the Tokyo Drift. I wanted to know like how is that? Because I'm sure like that's a movie that we were talking about that totally got it wrong,
oh yeah.
but at the time they probably thought they were getting it right.
Well, see, at the time, there were so little Asians on television or movies that we were like, oh my God, great, Asians, like we don't care, just like
Yeah.
as long as we're there. Um, and yeah, the whole thing is that the Asian American car show scene inspired that movie, like the whole series. And eventually it's gone off in an entirely different direction now. But like back then, they did get a lot right. Like they did consult with like car people from the industry to get the cars right or like to drive the cars in the right style. But they always made the Asians the villains and then the like white guy would be the hero. And we're like, wait, this is our scene. Why are we
Right.
our villains in our own story?
Yeah, they should have thrown a hero and you're in there and make the white guy the bad guy because he right.
Yeah.
That would have been an interesting twist. My one of my best friends, he's no longer with us, but he used to co-host this podcast. He claimed on his soul that he wrote Fast and the Furious, and he said that like he was like he left it on a laptop and he went to Starbucks and then he came out and it was gone and he said
Wait, what? Really?
that's what he claims.
Okay.
I mean you know he can't really defend himself now, but
Yeah.
it was always so funny because he's like and the worst part is they made 10 of these fucking movies and like
Yeah.
he's like, oh, I just got a $6 Starbucks. So
It's Universal's largest and most lucrative franchise ever.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little yeah. I mean, I like them because they're entertaining, but there comes to a point where it's like it's just now ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I haven't watched it beyond. Yeah, I haven't watched the recent ones.
Yeah. After yours, you're like, all
Yeah.
right, I've seen this.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, now they're going to space, and it's like, I don't care about them going to space. That's weird.
yeah, Fast and the Furious Space Wars or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, so I have two more questions for you. Question number one, I wanted to ask you if you could go into a time machine and talk to a younger version of yourself, knowing everything you know now, what would you tell yourself?
I would tell her you are loved because I did not feel loved. Like, even though my parents loved me and people around me loved me, I didn't feel loved. And since I felt like such low self-esteem, I chased validation in the wrong places. So, yeah, I would want her to know she's loved.
That's very interesting because I kind of feel like that, where like I feel not loved even though I know I am loved. And I think like maybe that's, you know, because we're in the entertainment business, maybe that's an entertainment business curse. I don't know.
Yeah, it may just be the human condition. Like, we're not taught to love ourselves, but not only should you have people who love you, you need to love yourself. And I did not love myself back then.
They should definitely teach that in schools. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that would be
Like
important.
your first week in school, just be like, all right, Keith, hey, you're fat. I just want you to know, love yourself for being fat. It's the best, you know? Just like compliment. Or like, hey, you're
I think
weird.
that
Love
comment
yourself.
might leave somebody with some trauma.
No, but you know, but you gotta say
Yeah.
it in a positive way. And then be like, here's a cake, love yourself. You know,
Yeah,
something
something.
positive. And then I wanted to ask you this. This actually has nothing to do with you, so I apologize, but I wanted to hear your opinion because I thought it was pretty fascinating and kind of weird. So I was watching this documentary about like all the world wonders and stuff, and like the pyramids and stuff, and like how they were made and stuff. And I wanted to know, like, in your opinion, how do you think these were made?
Well, I was just in Cairo actually, so I saw these pyramids maybe just 2 months ago. But I think they probably constructed, I'm not an architecture person, I don't know, but like some kind of ramp to like roll it up,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Or aliens, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of how like I was thinking, but then I got like really deep into my answer. You want to hear my answer? It's like
Sure.
really
Yeah.
okay. So in like 5,000 years from today, when we are gone, you know, our children are gone, our grand, you know, you get the idea. Everyone's gone, but there's more humans, right? They come up with this thing called a time machine, right? I don't know why I did it like Dr. Evil, but so they come up with a time machine. And what they do is they travel in the past and they build these remarkable wonders, right? These pyramids, you know, the Stone Age, and then they come back into their future and they look at us like at a crystal ball and they're just laughing
Oh,
at us.
it's just entertainment. I mean,
Yeah,
that could be God just doing that. Maybe
yeah,
not even a future time machine person.
exactly. But what I'm saying is like I think they're just laughing at us because they think we're idiots. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that
Like,
could be possible. I guess that's really just shows what you would do if you had a time machine. You're
oh
like revealing.
no, what I no one's ever asked me that, but what I would do is I would tell myself, hey, no matter how bad life gets, just remember that, you know, because I've been suicidal before, and no matter how bad life gets, just remember your humor is going to change somebody that's worth it. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how I look into things,
Yeah.
because I feel if you could change someone's life through humor, you'll always be in their heart.
Yeah, that's great. That's like a version of what I would tell my young self, but just said in different words,
Yeah. I did
that
it
you're
more
valuable. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly, more darky. Uh, Okay, so the book is coming out August 12th,
19.
19th. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's going to be on like all the bookstores, Amazon, Barnes and
Yeah.
Nobles, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
you'll be able to find it everywhere and it's also on audiobook. So, yeah.
Did you do your own audiobook?
I did. It was very tiring. Yeah.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
long did that take you?
It took like 3 days, I think. Yeah, it
Oh.
was stressful.
Oh, are you going to do a book tour?
Yeah, the one I'm most excited about is, of course, in my home city at the Barnes and Nobles in Hollywood
Oh,
at
nice.
at the Grove. Yeah, so I'm doing it there, and yeah, we'll do like San Francisco and New York and some other places too.
Oh, that's awesome. And where can the folks at home follow and support you? Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah, just by my name, you could find me everywhere. My website, my Instagram, TikTok, whatever.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much. It was a real pleasure to interview you, and best of luck with the book. And thank you for writing it, because, like I said, it seems like it's a very important subject that a lot of people don't realize, what they're doing and stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right, cool. Well, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay,
All right.
thanks.
All right,
Bye.
guys, that was an episode. Subscribe, rate, review, and we'll see you guys next week on Reza Rifts.